Sorry, Matthew.
Ask the question again.
Okay, the question is, what role, should we and must we play now in order to implement immediate strategies to help us get to a net zero profile? I mean, there are a lot that we can do. I know, and every country around the world during the UN General Assembly focused on that very issue, climate change. Some countries are really devastated by the impact of where we are. Share with us, please.
Well, that's a great question, because there's a lot of people on one side who would say, look, government are responsible for this. They need to take more decisive action. Others would say, look, corporates need to change. They need to stop profiting from fossil fuels and switch to green energy. And then you've got, another view is that, this is individual action. We're the ones that use fossil fuels. We're ultimately the ones responsible for buying the goods and services in the economy. So we've got to change. The real answer is that it's all three, right? It's governments, it's corporates, and it's individuals all pushing, all working together to accelerate that change. But if you wanted to know my view, and every individual has a different circumstance around the world, but if I had to give you a kind of bucket list as an individual, what you should do to combat climate change, firstly, I would say electrify everything. So electric cars, electric cookers, electric heat pumps to heat your house, because basically we have to quadruple the share of electricity in our energy system so we can power it all with wind and solar and renewable energy. The second biggest action you can take is to reduce meat consumption, because if you look at the average diet around the world, it requires about 1 football pitch worth of land. A vegan diet, on the other hand, requires just the penalty box. So by cutting down on meat consumption, you're freeing up lots of agricultural land, which means ongoing emissions are reduced. But it also means we can stop cutting down forests, which releases carbon, and instead we can plant trees and draw the carbon from the atmosphere. So this buys us lots of time in order to get our entire system to net zero fast enough to stop those dangerous levels of warming, which could trigger tipping points.
Okay, Matthew, the first one we can work with, but the second one, trying to convince our culture to go vegan, I don't know. But I'm
not saying vegan, but for agriculture to get to net zero, big meat eating countries roughly need to halve meat consumption, so everybody else in the world can up their protein intake. So, couple of days a week, just don't eat meat.
That's okay, Matthew. I thank you for that, man. I mean, this is great. Need you to come back. Really want you to come back, to share with us more details about your profile. It's just we rush for time, but you're amazing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Do the good you can while you can. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
So we are watching Dr. Matthew, and the book is available everywhere. Climate Change, Net Zero. So get ready, get your path to helping this planet. And if you're an organization, this is a great book that you might want to share. If you're doing a book club, this might be a great, and if you're corporate, you might want to get Matthew to speak to you about how you could help with that net zero goal.
Okay. And if anybody wants more details and they can't afford the book,